For your cheesy tomato, spinach, and feta panini, you're gonna need your sourdough slices, some mozzarella, some feta, a clove of garlic, tomato, your spinach, some mayonnaise, the cream cheese, some Dijon mustard, a lemon, your potatoes, and then I have 2 tablespoons of butter that I've separated, some oil, some salt, some pepper, about a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar, and then my bag didn't come with oregano for the potatoes, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use some Italian seasoning that I had on hand, but feel free to season your potatoes however you like. I have my oven preheating to 425 degrees while I work on my potatoes, so I'm gonna start by having these. And remember, it's always easier to cut on a flat surface. And I just kind of curve my knife like this. I put it to a slight angle and I cut the potatoes into thirds like this so that we have nice wedges. I'll show you that again. I just kind of curve this way and then curve this way to cut them into wedges. And I'm going to do that with the rest of my potatoes. So I have my potatoes all cut into wedges. I'm going to drizzle these with oil, and then we'll do a generous pinch of salt, some pepper, and then your oregano if you had it. If not, like I said, I'm using some Italian seasoning I had. And then I just give these a good toss. And you see I've lined my sheet pan with foil to make for easy cleanup. So I just kind of toss this all together to make sure all the potatoes are evenly coated and all that spice and all that oil. And then what I do is I like to lay all my potatoes upright like this so that they cook evenly. You don't have to do that, but I find that it makes for a crispier all-around potato by having them all facing upright with the skin down. And I did fail to mention, you do not need to peel the potatoes. These are yellow potatoes. The skin is very, very thin, so it's not necessary to peel them. If you are seriously against potato skin, feel free to peel them, but that's just an extra step that doesn't need to be done. So all my potatoes are right side up. Another reason I do this is sometimes the potatoes stick together. So these are now gonna go on the top rack of my oven for about 20 to 25 minutes until they're nice and roasted. All right, now I'm gonna just go ahead and give my lemon a quarter. So just cutting it into 4s, like so. And then I'm going to mince my garlic. You can grate this if you want, or you can just mince it with your knife, as I'm doing. I give it a good smash so that that skin comes off nice and easily. And then we just gather it all together, and we just, in our rocking motion, holding our knife properly, like so. You just give it a good mince. And as you see, I just gather it up. I clean my knife off. And don't ever use the blade side to clean your finger off. Use the spine. And then just mince. Like so. In the same pan that I'm going to make the paninis for cleanup purposes, I'm going to go ahead and heat a drizzle of oil, and I'm going to add my spinach. And then we're going to add a little bit of garlic. As I told y'all, I do things in a different order. So it told me to make the Dijonnaise first, but that doesn't make sense to me. I can make that while the spinach is cooking. So I'm adding about half of my garlic, and then a pinch of salt and some pepper. But please feel free to follow the recipe cards to a T. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and toss this, and you're gonna see in about 2 to 3 minutes how much that spinach cooks down. So as my spinach is cooking to my bowl with sugar, I'm gonna add my mayonnaise, both packets. And then I'm gonna add my Dijon mustard. For those of you that don't know, Dijonnaise literally is Dijon mustard and mayonnaise combined, hence the name Dijonnaise. I'm gonna add the rest of that garlic that I didn't add to the spinach. And then I'm gonna add the juice of one lime wedge. You don't have to use a juicer, just make sure you don't get any seeds in it. Then we're gonna add some salt, some pepper. Give this a good stir until it's all combined. And there's our Dijonnaise. So as you can see, the cream cheese is completely melted. Something you will come to know about Chef Brooke is I love tomatoes, but this, the split here and the split here, I can't do that. So I'm going to omit this tomato because I don't like that it's been split open like this and been sitting in a bag. So just an FYI, that's why you haven't seen me cut the tomato. So we're gonna assemble our sandwiches now, and we're gonna do that by opening up our panini bread, and we're gonna add a little bit of Dijonnaise onto both sides. We're gonna save some of the Dijonnaise for our potatoes to dip it in. Or if you use it all in the sandwiches, that's also fine. If you don't have any left over, no big deal. So just spread that with our Dijon mustard. And then we're gonna go ahead and actually, I'm gonna layer a little bit of mozzarella first. I'm sorry, I'm gonna layer the feta first. Feta is a Greek cheese. It's very salty, so be careful with how much salt you're adding to your food. So yeah, it is a very traditional Greek style cheese. It's not super melty, but it will. So add half our feta cheese, half the spinach mixture. Which the spinach is all in clumps, so this may take a little finesse. And as I said, if you had your tomato and it wasn't split like mine, please use it. So we're just spreading our spinach. If you have a protein at home, like if you had some chicken that you wanted to add, please feel free. Or some other protein, like some sliced turkey. And then we're gonna top that with half of our mozzarella cheese. And then you see why I open my bread like this, so that they match up. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and close this and do that with my other sandwich. So I just wanna show you one more time how I did my bread. So I pull it out of the package and it's like this. And then I open it this way. That way, so if I were to go like this and lay it down, when I go to close it, they're not evenly matched. So if you open it up like this, you'll be able to close it and the sides will be evenly matched. That's why I do that. All right, so I did 1 tablespoon of butter. I still have a remaining tablespoon of butter, and I've melted it over a medium-ish heat. And we're gonna go ahead and place our paninis right into our pan. I like to give them a little press down when they get in there. And we're gonna let these cook for a couple minutes on each side. So now that my butter has melted, I'm gonna take my paninis again and place them back into the pan. And again, like I said, if you need to do this in 2 batches, because you don't have a big enough pan, that is totally fine. Just be careful because butter does burn faster than oil, so you don't want to cook these on too high of heat. So I'm just gonna cook these until they're golden. So as you can see, my spinach is wilted down to next to nothing. I put the entire contents of the cream cheese into a small bowl, and I kind of broke it up as I squeezed it out. That's just because it's a little bit cold, and then putting this hot spinach on top of it is gonna help melt it. And then I'm just gonna wipe that pan clean, and we're just gonna kind of stir this. It may take a second for the cream cheese to melt. Well, it's melting pretty quick. So we're just gonna mix this all up together until that cream cheese is completely melted. So I'm actually going to flip these. Also, please know that if you need to cook them separately in two batches, that's fine. I'm flipping them onto my cutting board. You see though that they're nice and golden brown. That way I can add my other tablespoon of butter and let that melt, and then I'll put them in on the other side. So as you can see, my paninis are nice and golden. You can hear that crust. My potatoes are also golden brown. I'm gonna go ahead and just drizzle a little bit of lemon juice over these. And then at this point, you can serve your paninis however you like. You can serve them with remaining lemon wedges on the side. If you have any Dijonnaise left over, you can serve that with the potatoes. And as always, I look forward to your presentation.